Chapter 2, From Trade to Political Supremacy, Colonial Rule in India. First point, mercantilism. What is mercantilism? Mercantilism is an economic policy that is designed to maximize the export and minimize the imports for an economy. It is an economic theory and practice done by English East India Company from the 17th century onwards to consume and export more than it imported in order to maintain a positive balance of trade. It promotes imperialism. Second point, origin of English East India Company. English East India Company was established in London, UK by a group of merchants in 1600. Queen Elizabeth of England issued a charter which gave the company the sole rights of trade. Third, early years of English East India Company. English East India Company led its first voyage to India under the captaincy of William Hawkins in 1608. A trading factory was established at Surat in 1613 during the time of Jahangir. In 1615, Sir Thomas Roe received a royal order from Jahangir that allowed the English East India Company to set up factories in Agra, Bharuch, Ahmedabad and some other places in India. The first English factory in South India was established in Masulipatam in 1611. The first factories of Eastern India were established in Balasore in 1633 and Hooghly in 1651. Then they began to set up in Chennai, Calcutta, Bombay, etc. They set up Fort St. George in Madras in 1639. In 1668, the islands of Bombay fortified. In 1717, English East India Company got right to trade in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa by foreman or order issued by Mughal ruler Farrukh Siyar. They made huge profits through trade from India. English East India Company's European rivals, especially Portuguese, the French and the Dutch, rebel against the Portuguese. In 1498, Portuguese navigator and explorer Vasco da Gama discovered the new sea route that linked India to Europe via the Cape of Good Hope. They reached at Malabar coast in South India, Calicut at Kapad, and established settlements at Calicut, Cochin, Goa, Daman, Diu. The Portuguese were the first European power to establish their trading and administrative centers in India as well as many other parts of Southeast Asia. The Dutch established their trading centers at Surat, Ahmedabad, Bharuch, Nagapattinam and Masulipatam. They established a colonial empire in Java and Indonesia. The French East India Company established in 1664. The first French factory was set up at Surat in 1668. The early French settlements in India were Pondicherry, Chandanagur, Mahi and Karaikal. The French governor Dupleix tried to establish a French Indian empire. So there were direct conflicts with the English East India Company. There were several wars fought with each other. By the middle of 18th century, the English East India Company eventually succeeded in outclassing all other European powers. Next part, colonization of the Indian subcontinent. In 1756, Siraj Ud Dowlah, the Nawab of Bengal, tried to check the English East India Company's bid to extend the fortifications of Calcutta and get the treasures the company had accumulated from the Bengal treasury at Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. Bengal province means at present UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Bengal, Orissa and Bangladesh. It is one of the most fertile areas of the world. It is the best areas to be cultivated here in India. Siraj-ud-Dawla refused to give more trade concessions and privileges to the English East India Company. So the company started conspiring with the rebels of Siraj-ud-Dawla to overthrow him. Siraj-ud-Dawla marched with his soldiers and captured English East India Company's Qasim Bazar factory and Calcutta headquarters. But British recaptured at Plassey in a battle in 1757, next Battle of Plassey. The British forces under Robert Clive recaptured Calcutta, conspiring with Mir Jafar, the commander-in-chief of Siraj-ud-Dawla. He cheated Siraj-ud-Dawla with the support of Britishers. The British forces defeated Siraj-ud-Dawla with the support of his own court in the Battle of Plassey in 1757. After this victory, the English East India Company became the real power in Bengal province. Mir Jafar became the puppet Nawab of Bengal. Puppet means he should be worked under Britishers to be ruled according to salary. For the namesake only as the ruler of Bengal province. But order should be given by the Britishers. But he tried to free himself from the company's yoke. So he was deposed from his post and his son-in-law Mir Qasim became the Nawab of Bengal. Following the victory of Battle of Plassey, English East India Company's officials amassed a huge wealth and began to follow lavish lifestyles, luxurious life. Next, Battle of Buxar. Mir Qasim, the puppet Nawab of Bengal, also tried to free himself from the company's yoke. He dismissed the officials who were close to English East India Company. He invited a new European mercenaries to train a new method of warfare, abolition of taxes on internal trade, and checking the trade privileges of British, etc. He anchored them. That's why he also deposed from his post. His policy was anchored by the British. They deposed him from power, but Mir Qasim formed a combined forces with Shuja-ud-Dawla, the Nawab of Awadh, UP, Shah Alam II, the Mughal emperor. Three of them formed a force. In the Battle of Buxar, fought in 1764, the combined forces of Mir Qasim, Shuja-ud-Dawla and Shah Alam II were defeated by English East India Company. This victory made the English East India Company the real master of Bengal province. Result. After the battle, Shuja-ud-Dawla and Shah Alam signed two treaties with Governor Robert Clive. The Mughal emperor granted the Diwani, means the right to collect the revenue from Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. In return, an annual tributary of rupees 26 lakhs and 50 lakhs respectively, both of them, Shujauddaulah and Shah Alam II. The grant of Diwani enabled the English East India Company to use the vast revenue resources of Bengal to purchase cotton, silk textiles in India. They became more powerful in Bengal province and earned the maximum profit from here. Anglo-Mysore Wars. Mysore is one of the famous districts of Karnataka. It is famous for its coffee, spices, oranges, etc. It was ruled by Hyder Ali. The expansion of Mysore under Hyder Ali alarmed the officials of the English East India Company. It led to a series of wars between the English East India Company and the rulers of Mysore, Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. There are 4 wars between them. First, Anglo-Mysore War. It was fought from 1767 to 69. Hyder Ali versus the British and the allied force of Nizam of Hyderabad. The suspicious of the rising power of Hyder Ali angered the British. So the British, the Nizam of Hyderabad, attacked Hyder Ali. But the British failed in this war. Hyder Ali defeated them and forced the British to sign a peaceful treaty by which they agreed to help each other in case of attack by a third party. But Britishers did not come for help when the Marathas attacked Hyder Ali. It was the main reason for the Second Mysore War. Second Anglo-Mysore War, it was fought from 1771 to 84. Hyder Ali versus the British. When the Marathas attacked Hyder Ali, the British did not come to help Hyder Ali. Hyder Ali died during the war, but his son Tipu Sultan continued the war. The war ended with a treaty named Treaty of Mangalore in 1784. Third Anglo-Mysore War. It was fought from 1785 to 94. Tipu Sultan versus the British. Under Tipu Sultan, Mysore controlled the lucrative trade carried out from the Malabar coast. Malabar coast means it is in Kerala, Calicut. It is famous for its rubber, tea, spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, etc. Clove. In 1785, Tipu Sultan stopped the export of some of the most profitable items of the trade, such as sandalwood, pepper, cardamom, etc., from the ports of his kingdom. He did not allow the local merchants to any trade with English East India Company. Not only that, he established a close relation with the French to modernize his army. All these reasons angered by the British. The British attacked and defeated Tipu Sultan. Result: under the Treaty of Seringapatta, Tipu Sultan gave a large part of his kingdom, especially Coorg or Kodag, Malabar, Dandigal, to the British with a huge fine. His two sons also sent to the British as hostages. Fourth Mysore War. Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Nizams of Hyderabad supported to the British versus Tipu Sultan from 1798 to 99. The subsidiary alliance was introduced by the British Governor General Lord Wellesley. Subsidiary alliance. He wanted Tipu to accept his policy, subsidiary alliance. But Tipu Sultan refused to accept the subsidiary alliance. It was the reason for the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War in 1798. Tipu died during this war by fighting up to death. British annexed a large portion of his conquest. Some portions were given to the Nizam of Hyderabad for their help. It was the end of the history of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, or the end of Anglo-Mysore Wars. Anglo-Maratha Wars. About a decade after the defeat of the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat, an intense power struggle began among the five Maratha chiefs: the Peshwa, the Gaikwads, the Hokars, the Bonsals, and the Scindias. Reason of the war was questioning the succession of the Peshwa. First Anglo-Maratha War. The Peshwa, or the Maratha chiefs, versus the British. The Marathas defeated the British at first. Soon after, Warren Hastings sent an army from Calcutta to help the British forces. Finally, the war ended with a treaty of Salbai, in which the British recognized Madhav Rao II as the Peshwa, the ruler of the Maratha under Britishers. Second Anglo-Maratha War. The Maratha chiefs versus the British, especially Scindia and Bonsal. Reason of the war was the Marathas refused to accept the subsidiary alliance and declared the war against the British in 1803. The Marathas were defeated. Their territories were captured by the British, especially they annexed the main territories of Marathas such as Ahmednagar and Bharuch. Third Anglo-Maratha War. Maratha chiefs Hokar versus the British. Reason of this war was Hokar refused to accept the subsidiary alliance. The war was ended with a peace treaty with the Hokar. Fourth Anglo-Maratha War. Peshwa Baji Rao II versus the British in 1817. Reason of this war was Peshwa Baji Rao II attacked the British residency. In return, the British defeated the Marathas and they annexed the territories of Marathas. The title of Peshwa was withdrawn by the British, and most of their territories also annexed with the British. Expansion of Sindh, Afghanistan and Punjab. Sindh and Afghanistan. The English East India Company wanted to annex Afghanistan. It is possible only by conquering Sindh. In 1809, a treaty was signed with the amirs, means rulers of Sindh, that not to let the French pass through their territories. The British promised not to transport arms through Sindh, but 1839 the English East India Company violated this treaty and they carried armed forces to Afghanistan via Sindh. Sindh was finally attached and annexed by Charles Napier in 1843. In 1830s and 1840s, the English East India Company fought a long war with Afghanistan and established indirect company rule there in Afghanistan. Punjab. After the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in 1839, Punjab faced political instability. There was no ruler among them. So his youngest son, Dalip Singh, was placed on the throne. He had no experience about the reign, rule. So his mother, Rani Jintan, was made the regent in 1843. The first Anglo-Sikh War broke out when the Sikh army tried to cross the Satluj and occupy Lahore. The British defeated the Sikhs and the Treaty of Lahore was signed. As a result, the Sikhs had to pay a huge war fine and give the territories to the British. Rani Jintan removed from power by accusing or charging anti-British activities. This led to the widespread revolt in Punjab. But in Second Anglo-Sikh War, the Sikhs were defeated by the British and annexed the state of Punjab in 1849.